Now moving on to Mercury Pluto. Mercury and Pluto in hard aspect combination is one of my favorite things to talk about. Mercury and Pluto is a combination for a person who communicates powerfully. Mercury has to do with our communication, and Pluto has to do with power. Pluto also has to do with abnormal strength, and it also has to do with superhuman ability. So very often when we find a person with Mercury and Pluto within their birth chart, these are people who have the ability to speak directly into the soul of their audience. A Mercury-Pluto communicator is somebody who knows how to speak in a way that moves the masses towards some common vision or towards some common goal. And they know how to speak into the very depths of a person's experience so that even if they're speaking to a room of 10,000 people, people still walk away feeling as if they've directly been spoken to. Mercury-Pluto is a powerful combination for people who know how to lead based on the words that they're saying. Mercury and Pluto together is somebody who has a powerful mind that has the ability to do extraordinary things. And one of the things with a Mercury-Pluto person is that they know that they have an extraordinary mind with the ability to do extraordinary things. And as a result of that, they use their mental faculties to their highest ability because they know that with a mind like theirs, anything is possible. One of the challenges with Mercury and Pluto in hard aspect combination is because these people have the tendency of knowing that they tend to be smarter than everybody else, they can also lean into that in a way that tends to be manipulative to others around them. The entire idea of mind games is completely a Mercury-Plutonian concept. Because when a person has Mercury-Pluto, they know not only how to play the mind games, but they also know how to win the mind games. And as a result of that, we sometimes find Mercury-Pluto showing up very heavily within the charts of people working in the legal profession, particularly in the charts of lawyers. Because Mercury and Pluto in combination has to do with people who not only know how to debate, but they also know how to win the debate because they know how to create loopholes within the debate that naturally lead to them winning. It's a combination of lawyers and politicians and evangelists and televangelists, and anybody who convinces others of anything for a living is going to be a Mercury-Pluto person. One of the things that I find particularly powerful about Mercury-Pluto is the way in which this combination has the ability to speak directly into the subconscious mind of others. And this is why Mercury and Pluto is a combination that we find within the charts of hypnotherapists as well, and in the charts of people who are practicing hypnosis as a means of helping their clients navigate some of the deepest parts of their own subconsciousness. When a person has the hard aspect combination of Mercury-Pluto, they lean towards fields that have to do with research or digging into the deep, dark recesses of our human experience in order to find the gems that exist there. And as a result of that, the person with Mercury-Pluto is a person who has the ability to work as a private investigator, but they also have the ability to do any sort of work that allows them to move beyond what is beautiful or pretty about life down and into the deep, dark crevices of the human experience as a means of helping us find the truth that we seek. So I consider Mercury and Pluto together to be a powerful combination for people who are doing any sort of deep therapeutic work with their clients that involves talk therapy or that involves using words as a means of taking clients into the deepest, darkest recesses of their experience. Mercury-Pluto for me is the combination of hypnosis and the hypnotherapist, but it's also the combination of people who are doing very deep shamanic work, particularly the parts of shamanic work that we call soul retrieval. Mercury was one of the psychopomps of the gods. And the word psychopomp refers to any god or being that has the ability to guide souls through their passage into the underworld. However, Mercury wasn't only responsible for guiding souls through their passage into the underworld. Mercury was also the only god who could retrieve souls from the underworld and bring them back to their normal reality. Pluto, as we know, is the god of the underworld. Therefore, the combination of Mercury and Pluto has to do with this very deep part of our collective unconscious mythographic landscape, in which we have this idea of Mercury representing that part of our underworld experience that has to do with going into the depths as well as rising out of the depths, and Pluto is representing the depths into which we enter and from which we arise. Therefore, the combination of Mercury and Pluto has to do with the ability of somebody to go deep into the darkest parts of life, deep into the nightmarish landscapes of the human soul, deep into the dark night of the human soul, and it also has to do with being able to come through on the other side of that journey unscathed. This is why we find people with Mercury-Pluto working within fields such as social work, where they have to go deep into the darkest parts of our collective human experience and save people from those experiences of abuse and violence within whatever their current living conditions are. We also find this within the charts of people who can work with children who are going through very challenging health experiences, especially people who are doing hospice work that has to do with children. Mercury-Pluto has to do with being able to lead the souls of those young people into their other experience, across the other threshold that awaits them at death. Mercury-Pluto has to do with people who are death doulas, or who have the ability to stand by the side of somebody as they make their transition into the beyond. And once again, it has to do with shamanism, and particularly the aspect of shamanism called soul retrieval, where we are helping a person find a missing part of who they are, and we're willing to go with them on a journey into the deepest, darkest parts of their human experience in order to retrieve that part of them that is missing. So for all of these reasons, Mercury and Pluto together is a powerful combination. It sets a person up to have an extraordinary amount of internal power and internal fortitude within themselves, because when we have Mercury and Pluto in hard aspects combination, there is very little within this lifetime that has the ability to scare us, because we realize that the deeper we search into the darkness of the human experience, all we will ever find is more of ourselves.